We live in a moment where people have seen every type of content possible, every format, every hook, every trick. And people are obviously more and more selective about what deserves their attention. What's happening now isn't the death of content, it's the collapse of assumed attention. What interests me is that two very different types of campaigning are succeeding at the same time, and both are winning because they respect the viewer's attention instead of exploiting it. In today's episode, I'd like to use two of the brands whose storytelling and campaigning I genuinely love and think that they are great examples of what happens when businesses don't assume viewers' attention but rather they earn it. I'm Saida. By day, I've spent the last few years working as a product designer in tech and strategy, building systems and translating ideas into products. By night, my heart has always been in music and creative work. My background also includes certifications in applied psychology, data analytics, accessibility, and user experience, which I apply across different industries. The two brands I'd like to use today as case studies are Topicals and Walk in Paris. Whether you're a business owner or a creator, you'll find these case studies useful and relevant to understanding how to create a healthy relationship with your audience. Practically, it breaks down to three main points. Point number one, you don't open with heavy branding. Branded slogans, a lot of product shots, upfront signal, this is an ad. People mentally leave. Instead, you open with something that would still be worth watching if the brand didn't exist. If you ask for 30 seconds of attention, you deliver value for 30 seconds. Point number two, you respect intelligence, no over-explaining, no shouting benefits. You imply more than you state. Viewers like connecting dots. It makes them feel involved rather than managed. Point number three, the message arrives naturally. The campaign idea should feel like a conclusion the viewer reaches themselves. The strongest campaigns don't announce their point. So those 3 points will really decide whether or not it's going to be an ad that is being tolerated or it's going to be a piece of work being remembered. Now, let's look at how this plays out with specific examples. First campaigning style is played outside of the attention economy, and the second is inside of it. Walk in Paris often creates stories that highlight the culture, lifestyle, and personal experience. This creates a more immersive experience for the viewer. Walk in Paris uses narrative to establish context before product. The films emphasize lifestyle, pace, and identity. Clothing functions as an extension of that environment. This approach prioritizes cultural alignment over explanation. They capture the cultural nuances of the life in the metropolitan city, making the content not just about clothing, but about a whole way of living. Before we continue, if this episode adds value, feel free to subscribe or interact. It really helps the channel grow. And if there is a topic you'd like me to explore next, drop it in the comments. Now let's move to Topicals. Topicals integrates product into lived experience instead of shouting features. This makes the content feel like a genuine conversation rather than a hard sell. It's emotionally literate, meaning they show real skin, real discomfort, real conversations in their campaigns. Their films are visually stunning with careful attention to lighting, set design, and cinematography. The brand is integrated into the story organically, often focusing on the broader message of self-care. The product is part of the narrative, not the entire focus. Topicals embraces a genuine tone, often incorporating real stories and experiences, making the content feel authentic and relatable. What both of these brands do. Topicals operates inside the attention economy, but with emotional intelligence. Walk in Paris operates outside of it through restraint. What connects them is not aesthetics, it's not budget, it's not format. It's the fact that neither assumes you owe them your time. They earn it in different ways. What this means in practical terms. Before you start to write the script for the video, think about the ways the scenes can come together without the story being about and around your product. Just ask yourself, would this moment still make sense if the brand didn't exist? Because at the end of the day, our lives do not revolve around products and brands. Those are just additions that's supposed to make our lives better in one way or another. When it comes to technical nuance, there is no need to invest into big budget production. Of course, if you can, do it with big budget and would like to do so, feel free. However, there are many ways you can focus on technical aspects that you or your team are specifically good at. Producing these campaigns doesn't require a big production budget. What it does require is clarity about where you want to be excellent. For example, good quality cinematic lighting or really good color grading in post-production, or maybe your set design is on top or styling of the clip. Instead of trying to be good at all of this like a feature film, think of one or two technical nuance you think that you or your team could really elevate so that you become known for this specific element. Consistency throughout all of your work will be a key here. Over time, that consistency becomes recognizable, and recognition is what earns trust without explanation. When it comes to casting and location, think of places that are relatable and of people that really would exist in these places so that it feels somewhat created but also still grounded in real life experiences. Location will dictate your lighting, color palette, pacing, and atmosphere of the story more than most people realize. Casting and location aren't just decorations, so treat it as structural decision rather than just a backdrop. The observations we've discussed today point to a broader cultural shift. Audiences are increasingly resistant to being treated as data points. Whether it's Topicals or Walk in Paris or any other brand, what's actually working here is not the industry, not the format, or neither the aesthetic. It's the same underlying decision to treat attention as something that is earned rather than extracted. This approach is relevant to many different industries and businesses. At the heart of these short films is profound empathy for the viewer. It's not just about telling a story, but about anticipating the viewer's emotional journey and respecting their intelligence. When you reject over-explanation, you give your audience a sign that you trust their intelligence and give them a room to frame the messaging with their own brain. These brands often engage viewers on subconscious level by creating a mood or atmosphere that feels immersive and authentic. A nuanced layer is how these brands respect and reflect cultural context. This depth of cultural understanding makes the content more resonant and mirrors real moments of life. So the question I'd like for you to ask yourself today is, am I building just for reach or for respect as well? This is Full Potential, and I'll see you in the next episode.